Welcome to another episode of the official Catchup. Today I'm joined again by Chris. We're joined by Shaun and McKirdy, midfielder for Kelty Hearts. How are you doing today, Shaun?
I'm all right. I'm good.
Keeping yourself quite busy, yeah?
Trying my best. Got plenty of time because I'm off work now, but I'm able to do a wee bit of work online, trying to keep myself fit, get a few workouts done and stuff. So it's not been too bad so far. See how it keeps up.
Yeah, so you're a personal trainer, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Self-employed personal trainer.
So I've seen a lot kicking about with your Joe Wicks and what have you. The World Mr. Motivator, I think, came back as well. Have you been doing a wee bit of online stuff while you've been off?
I've been trying to do my best to just sort of touch base with my own clients, potentially new ones, doing sort of live feeds and stuff. I had one on Instagram the other day. A few of the boys jumped on that and gave me a bit of stick for it, but it's been good. It's helped me. It helped me keep busy. My clients have sort of appreciated it, and even throughout the slagging I got off the boys, a few of them actually said it was all right. So I was pleased with that.
That's good. That's I suppose that's what you want. You want a wee bit of banter with the boys. But,
exactly. They get a right laugh out seeing the boys giving me stick, so it's not too bad.
That's brilliant. So, how are you found your clients are finding it? Because obviously they'll be getting used to coming out seeing you quite regularly, and obviously with everything that's hit them, it's probably going to. A lot of these guys will be working towards something. Is having quite a big impact?
It's quite tough. I've sort of found the mixed bag so far. Is there's loads that sort of motivations went through the floor. Just the fact a lot of people struggle without the gym in itself. In terms of like obviously at home, there's only so much you can do. A lot of them struggle without me, which is obviously another difficulty. But on the flip side, I've had a few people who've actually probably made the most of having more time. So although it's maybe not as good as they would do in the gym, they found the fact that maybe they're not at work, they're at home all day, means they're able to get 2 sessions in a day or whatever. So it's been a mixed bag. There is obviously ones that struggle in terms of, I've got a few people who are used to coming to see me 3, 4, 5 times a week. And it's a big change for them to then have to force themselves to work out in their back garden. But as I say, a few people have made the most of it, and hopefully me just keeping on top of them as well keeps them sort of going. So it's been all right so far.
That's brilliant. I suppose I fall into that latter category because I've been training to do a full marathon for the first time this year, and I've been making the most. So I've been out near enough every day since I started. That's been my way of exercise. So I suppose I've benefited from it, but I can understand how some people will maybe be a bit of knocked back everything that's going on.
Especially, obviously, I've got a couple as well whose work actually gets more intense at this time. So, it's a struggle if you've got kids, you're trying to work from home and stuff. So it's no easy. So it's just about getting everyone working as best they can. Because, obviously for you, it's great. That's something you can continue to train towards. But if I've got people that are training for maybe strength goals or whatever, it's tough. If you've not got access to any weights in the house, you're maybe not going to be making progress towards that. It's just keeping yourself as best you can and almost limiting what you lose kind of thing. But as I say, it's helped as well, the weather and stuff. People have been getting out and about for the most part and making the most of their one activity a day, because sometimes when you limit it to that, it actually makes people appreciate it a wee bit more because they know that's the only chance they're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure, like you say, I'm sure a lot of them are going to be benefiting from having you there to kind. Going back to yourself in football, you made your start at Hutchie Vale at their youth programme. How did you find that? Because they've got quite a reputation for being they've got a pretty strong, good reputation for churning out decent players. How did you find playing for Hutchie Vale when you were younger?
I loved it. Obviously it's all I'd ever really known boys club wise, because I was there from I was 6, 7 till I was 14. So it was the only club I'd sort of known, but I loved it. All the coaches there were brilliant. It was well run. I had Tam Smith as my coach, and obviously he kind of runs the whole thing. So that was an added bonus as well. We got well looked after when I was there. We went to tournaments, we went and played senior clubs and stuff. So it was brilliant. And as you say, the record sort of speaks for itself in terms of the amount of boys they've brought through different clubs, different age groups, and most of all, despite the fact it's serious, it's competitive. In my time there, we won God knows how many trophies. It was enjoyable as well, and they always made sort of a big push to keep it that way, which I think at that age is right, is the way it should be.
Yeah, because I think despite their strong reputation, at times they've got stick for perhaps being a bit too competitive.
You see it at times, don't get me wrong, like you see it it's hard as well because it's one of those things is that people are going to give them stick, because I know at my age it was the same. My wee brother plays for Hutchie just now. They're always signing the best players from other clubs, and that's always going to get them stick. But I know from experience as well, sometimes it's actually that the boys want to come to them naturally, so it works both ways. Don't get me wrong, there was a few times I could see why people disliked us, but it's that same thing. If you're a successful team, the chances are you're not going to have too many people that love you across the board.
Yeah, and to be honest, you always want to be playing with the same, people at the same level as yourself, because that's
definitely
how you're going to get the best out of yourself. Who were some of the notable people or other players that you had in your team then while you were down, spend your time there?
So I had Regan Hendry, who was at Celtic and now at Wraith Rovers. Ethan Hamilton, who was he was at Man United. He's on loan somewhere just now. He was at Shrewsbury. I don't know if he's still there. He's down south. Jack Cook, that was at Berwick. I had Cammy Milne, who played at Cove Rangers last year when they won the league. I'm trying to think. I think that's all the ones that have sort of stepped up into the senior game relatively recently. But there's a fair few did quite well. Sure, there's probably another couple I've came across in the Lowland League as well. But it was a decent sort of track record for our squad. It wasn't bad at all.
And how do you keep in touch with those boys and follow their careers quite closely, or have you kind of drifted a wee bit?
Still really close with Regan and Cammy Milne, probably two of my best friends. Still see them regularly, keep in touch with them and stuff. So it is good. And then a few other boys who never made it as far in the game, but who I still sort of keep in touch with. And all of them I'm relatively friendly with. That if I saw them out and about, I would chat away to them, kind of thing.
Yeah. So Scottish Cup wise, you'd love to see Kelty to draw Wraith, I suppose. So you'd get to go up against one of your
that would be an
mates.
interesting one, an old matchup against one of my best mates. That would be fun.
Absolutely, and obviously that Hutchie Vale time that gave you a bit of pathway into playing for Hearts, and you started off. I suppose you signed your first senior contract with Hearts. How did you find that step up? Because Hearts are obviously a huge club. How did you find playing there?
I loved it. I've been a Hearts fan. I was a season ticket holder when I was younger. Went home and away with my dad. Loved it. It was a step up. I found it relatively okay because at Hutchie, as I say, I was lucky that we'd travelled down south to play teams, to train with teams. We'd played the vast majority of senior clubs in Scotland, so it wasn't totally new to me. But obviously, it was a step up, and as well, one thing that I'd never sort of experienced at Hutchie is when you start playing up above your own age level, playing boys 2, 3, 4 years older, that's a bit of an experience the first couple of times you do that. That's very, very different.
Was there any games that stood out during your time at Hearts that you particularly, was it your debut or any games that
have to be my first team debut? You can't really say much more about that. My proper debut, I came on against Livingston in it was the Petrofac Cup at the time, and that was, you obviously have to class it. I don't know if I would say that was my proper debut, but coming on against Wraith in the Championship, just after they'd won the league and stuff, that was brilliant to play at Tynecastle and stuff. Other than that, obviously, was lucky enough to play a few times in the SPL, which was brilliant as well. And we played in the space of a couple of weeks. We played Preston and Everton in pre-season, and I played in both those games. So obviously, coming up against some top players, that I certainly enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. After that, you had a stint where I think you went to Hamilton, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and then I went to Hamilton for a year. I love my time there as well. A great group of boys. A lot of them have done well as well. Greg Docherty was a couple of years older than me. Sean Want, Lewis Smith, Stephen Boyd. Boys that are playing first team football. Just an unfortunate year there. Probably heard it before, but in terms of injuries, just never really got going. Came in at the end of pre-season, so I'd missed that. And then just sort of every time I got up to speed, just felt like I was, just set back again and again. So it was frustrating, but again, a really good club there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that led to a stint at Berwick, I believe, a team that you're becoming quite familiar with this season.
So I spent the last 3-4 months of that season at Hamilton on loan there. And again, enjoyed that. That was a totally new experience. For as much as I'd sort of played, what you would class as a decent level in terms of youth internationals, first team games, going down to League 2 for the first time was a bit of a shock. That was a bit of an eye opener, and you can definitely see why it's so valuable for boys at these clubs to go and do it.
Yeah, And then obviously that brought you to your life in the Lowland League, which is what myself, Chris and Derek obviously cover off. And my first I first came across you when I was reading through a piece on the Scottish Lowland website, and you were picked out as one of the players to watch for Gala Ferrydean Rovers, because you made a pretty strong start when you were there. How did you find it at Gala? Because that was I don't know how familiar you are with the Lowland League before you made that switch to Gala, but you've been a bit.
It was, I absolutely loved my time there. As you say, a wee bit sort of unsure in terms of it was totally new. It was just the pure and simple reason I went there was that I enjoyed my football there, and to me that was the most important thing. As soon as I stepped out the senior game, where it's like, right, I've got a job now. I was lucky enough to have a job that I really enjoyed. It was like, right, I'm not overly fussed about playing at this level, playing at that level. It was like, right, I want to go somewhere I enjoy football. I knew a few of the boys there, so I knew it would be a decent standard from the ones I knew, but I was pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of good quality players in the league, and that was last year. You see this year it's only getting stronger and stronger, but it was an eye-opener, that obviously, especially at that time, there was weaker teams in the league, but still there's no sort of easy games, even games that on paper people would look at and say, easy. It's never that straightforward, as you've seen.
Even up to that point, you'd had a bit of a storied career. You've played at all sort of different levels, and then came your stint that you're now in at Kelty. How have you found that switch? Because I think you were picked up from Gala as somebody to help strengthen the squad, and I think you've definitely done that over the last sort of season and a half. How have you found your time at Kelty?
I've loved it. It's sort of, for me, it's the best of both worlds in terms of it allows you that being part-time, you've got a job, but also the professionalism I've maybe been used to at another sort of level. It's brilliant, and it's only towards the tail end of last season when I came in, loved it and stuff, but obviously we've massively strengthened this year, and now we have got a real quality team that, in my opinion, I'm sure other people's opinions, does have players that could play at a higher level that have done in the past. So it's I've absolutely loved it. The boys, the gaffer, all the coaching staff have been excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into Kelty and having a look at the current situation, especially with the league coming in an end, what about yourself, Chris? Have you got any questions for Shaun, especially around, he's obviously played at that championship level. Your club played at championship level for a couple of seasons, I'm sure you'll remember. So
bit cheeky that one, but just in terms of your business, Shaun, obviously everyone's at home now, but obviously there's folk that have probably lost their job. Are you struggling at the moment in terms of business, or are you doing well?
Touch wood, I'm all right. Obviously, it's a massive loss of income in terms of I've not got anyone coming into the gym at the minute, which is obviously a big offset. My difficulty has been charging clients based on what they can do, because obviously in normal times I've got a gym program where people come into the gym, they train for an hour with me, that's a certain price. But what I also offer is an online program, which is where people don't actually ever meet me as such. It's I send a digital program to them, I send digital nutrition to them, and I check in with them every week, sort of thing. And I've obviously got a price point for that. And I think a lot of people just assumed when this happened that I would just move everyone on to that sort of system, which is, great. In theory, it's a drop in money, but it would still be, more than enough. The issue I've found is that obviously, everyone's gym's shut, and it's difficult to charge that sort of price range I was charging for that if people don't have a gym, sort of thing. But I've been sort of overwhelmed with generosity from a lot of clients, and the respect that I've had quite a few who sort of paid me despite the fact I'm not doing much for them just now. A few who've sort of said, for your service over the last couple of years, I'm going to keep a direct debit to you going. So that's been massively sort of appreciated. That's been a big help, that you've made enough of an impact in people's lives that they feel the benefit to doing that. And, with my online offerings, private groups and stuff, I'm making sort of enough to keep going. The test of time will be when the gym reopens and sort of the world gets back on its feet to see, can people still afford that luxury of a personal trainer kind of thing? And you just have to kind of hope they can. I'm fortunate that a lot of my clients are in jobs or industries that are protected at the minute, so they can work from home, or they're getting their full wage. So my take on it, hopefully, is that they'll miss exercise, and when we come out, they'll still be in a financial position to do it, so that any losses I have just now will sort of be recouped then. But as I say, no one really knows, so it's just a case of waiting and seeing.
Brilliant, Shaun, and that's really good. Obviously, to you're obviously doing a fantastic job with your work. If there's people, willing to stick with you through this tough time, because it is tough on everyone, obviously. And yeah, I did wonder about that personally, obviously, because on one side it's really great, everyone's at home. They probably will be looking to keep fit and stuff, but also, the flip of the coin is some people might not have the money coming in like they did have. So yeah, I thought that would be an interesting one to discuss.
No, definitely, because as you say as well, obviously it's a bit technical, and I don't expect everyone to understand, but a lot of what I charge for online is the programming in itself. That what I get people to do in the gym is maybe a lot different from what they're used to, and obviously I can charge a certain price for that, whereas when you're at home, there is only so many variations of stuff you can do, so instantly that price you can charge comes down a lot. So it's just getting used to that, as I say. But as you say, obviously it's maybe a bit of a tip of the cap to me that I'm doing something right, that people are still willing to pay for that service. And the only beauty of it, what I can do a lot just now, because I've got time, is I can check in with people a lot more regularly. And you'll know yourself, people appreciate that, just a simple message asking how they're getting on, keeping them motivated, kind of thing, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely agree, mate. And I'm sure we'll get into it, like as Shaun mentioned, but you probably saw it yesterday, and there's been a lot of reaction. But obviously, the Stenhousemuir chairman wants to stop relegation from the league for 2 seasons. I don't know how well that's going to turn out, obviously, because we've got too many ambitious teams like Kelty and Bonnyrigg.
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not my place to get into tit for tat about that. I'm sure you saw a few people on Twitter having their own thoughts on that. I just think, I get clubs want to protect themselves, and I know it's not an easy decision at the minute for the SPFL and whatever way they go, but I think that is very sort of disrespectful towards lower league clubs, that it kind of just chucks away the money they've spent. They've invested the time, the efforts they've went to. And if we're going to have a pyramid system, you can't just do that. You can't just protect those clubs. I get that it's tough financial times for them, and I know everyone has their own agenda, but I think that's a little bit disrespectful towards the work clubs like Brora, Kelty, Bonnyrigg, East Stirling, BSC. All these clubs are doing, the money they're spending, the time they're getting. It's like, well, oh, sorry, no luck. And it might come to that, but I think to do that without even a conversation is probably not the way I would go.
No, definitely not. And I'm sure Shaun will continue from there.
Yeah, I was right in there with everybody else when with the overreaction. I think when that first came out, I think anybody who posted on it, I felt like I needed to say my part. But having slept on it, I think it was a bit of a ridiculous notion, and I'm sure it's a statement they regret making, to be honest, because it's not going to be one of the proudest moments, and I don't think it's a realistic proposal, but it is what it is, and I think it's something that's something we just need to let go by the wayside. If that happens, I'd be shocked, to be honest. So yeah, getting back to yourself, and in particular your time at Kelty, you struggled a little bit with injury at points, which it's been frustrating to see as a fan of the club, especially. But how are you finding it? Because the club, I think, they're doing a pretty decent job of sticking by you whilst you're coming back and you're getting your game time built up, and you can see the impact you're having when you're on the field. Does that mean a lot to you as a player?
Oh, it's been brilliant, because I was sort of the first 6-7 months I was there. I was obviously lucky playing every week. I'd found myself last season, this season, in the team week in, week out, and I just had sort of a bad spell of luck as such. I had a hamstring injury, which happened. It's football. Came back, got myself straight back into the team, which I was delighted about, and then just as I sort of started building a bit of momentum up, I had a weird one. I got a long story, but I got a spider's bite on my leg, which got very badly infected and caused me quite a lot of issues. So it's had real issues sort of with my immune system and stuff, which has meant I've just not really had a chance to get myself fully back to it and get any sort of rhythm, because it's just wee things, but because it's weakened everything. It's my I get ill a bit more easily. You know, I'm maybe picking up wee knocks and niggles a bit more easily. So it's just about sort of, you know, trying to manage that as best as possible. But the gaffer and stuff have been brilliant. You know, they've been so reassuring, because I know myself it's frustrating for them as it is for me, in terms of it's not like a Dylan where you've got a knee injury, that's that. It's like, it's a silly one, but you know, they've been brilliant in terms of managing it, you know, building me back up, still getting game time progressively, sort of building it up, you know, keeping in contact with me, you know, not just sort of, oh, this is that, that's that, you know, keeping a chat with me, you know, just to let me know what's going on, what the sort of thought process is. So that's obviously been brilliant in terms of that the club are looking after you so much.
At the midway point through last season, Barry Ferguson was brought in. How have you found playing under Barry? He's got obviously a huge amount of experience. He's done things a bit differently since taking over, but you know, certainly seem to be seeing that come to fruition before this whole coronavirus thing. How have you found playing under Barry?
I've loved it. Obviously, you know, for me, being probably one of the youngest in the Celtic squad by quite a distance, and being a midfielder myself, to learn from someone like that's brilliant. You know, he's very demanding, but in a way that sort of gets the best out of you. You know, he's really sort of constantly looking out for you, and you know, at his core, as much as you know he is demanding, he's got the boys back massively, which I know everyone appreciates. You know, he is really in it together with us, which is a big thing. And you can see stuff like the professionalism he's brought to the club, you know, the way we're running stuff. I'm still obviously close with a few boys who are at senior clubs, and I certainly don't think we're any worse run. If anything, maybe better. You know, I think that the professionalism we've got is just brilliant. And you see, obviously, it's certainly not my place to talk about Kelty before, but I think we've definitely kicked on to another level this season. And I think, you know, anyone coming to the games regularly can see that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially the way the team's gelling, and it's good to hear you saying that as well about having your back, because that's a side that people who come to the games you don't always get to see, because Barry is he can be quite on it at his team to make sure they're performing well, and we don't always get to see that side of Barry. But whenever you speak to players, it's always the same sort of similar message, which is brilliant to hear. And what about? I'll have to admit, I've not had a chance to listen to the Fash interview that Chris did a couple of days ago yet, so I'm not sure if it's someone he's touched on already. But how are you finding it, and how is the club coping with this? You know, the virus outbreak and the fact that there's no football. Are you keeping in contact, or?
It's one of those things in terms of, you know, I don't think there's anyone in the world that could have been prepared for this, but I can only speak, you know, the club have been absolutely first class with us. You know, we've had regular contact from them, letting us know, what's going on with the leagues, what's going on with the plan we've to follow financially. You know, they've been sort of brand new in terms of the gaffer, Dean, the chairman, constantly keeping in contact with us, letting us know, fighting our corner kind of thing. And the boys is just the boys in terms of, you know, we've met up a couple of times, and then we've also, obviously, when we were allowed to, and we've also, you know, been keeping in touch on the group chat and stuff like that. So it's an unusual experience, but I think speaking to boys at other clubs, you know, we're coping with it just as well, if not better for them. And as I say, the club have sort of been first class in everything they've done for us so far, dealing with it all.
With everything that's going on just now and the lack of football, you said you're still able to get some of your training, your personal trainer stuff done, perhaps getting in touch with messages and things a little bit more frequently than you were before. How else are you filling your time then? I might be wrong, but I've not seen any I've seen all these challenges kicking about. I've not seen any come out of Kelty yet. So how are you filling your time?
We've not got our own one. To be honest, just about everything. It's been all right this week, because I'm probably, the nature of my job, I'm always chasing my tail in terms of paperwork, in terms of trying to finish courses, learning and stuff. So it's been all right with that, but I might have to get a new box set or something. Get that. We've just got a new wee dog, so she's kept us occupied a lot as well. She's up through the night taking her walks and stuff. So between doing that, keeping fit and stuff, just trying to keep myself occupied and productive as best I can.
Brilliant. And I suppose my last question, and then I'll turn it over to Chris and yourself to see if there's anything you want to add in. But what would you like to see happen when this is all done? Not just in terms of the Lowland League, but football wide as far as season standings, playing remaining fixtures, that kind of thing. Have you got your thoughts on it? It's all purely hypothetical, obviously, but what's your view on it?
Okay, it's hard, don't get me wrong, because as much as it's one of those situations, whatever happens, to a lot of clubs, it will be the wrong decision. No matter what they do, there's no way you can sort of universally prepare for this. My opinion is, I do think it's a little unfair that if leagues get null and voided, looking further afield than us, for Liverpool down south, about to win their first title in 30 years, if the league just gets scrapped after 30 plus games, it does seem a bit unfair. In terms of Scotland, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I think it is definitely a potential for league reconstruction. It's not my place to say they have to do this, they have to do that. I think it is probably a once in a lifetime opportunity in terms of, yes, it's probably overridingly a negative, but I think it probably cuts you a lot more slack in terms of if there was normally voting procedures, time to bed it in. I think this is probably one time you could do it without a lot of that due to the circumstances. I certainly think, it obviously works both ways, because I'm a Hearts fan, so I can say, the season should be finished as it stands. Kelty go up, potentially great, but then Hearts go down. I definitely think, of the suggestions you hear online and stuff, and you see all of them, I think some sort of reconstruction would be the way to go. I'm not saying that would be fair for everyone, because I know certainly, however likely it is that the season actually gets finished now, I'm doubtful, but no one within Kelty was sort of disrespectful enough to say that was us won the league. Obviously BSC, Bonnie are still putting up a challenge, so it's not right for us to say us and Brora should just automatically go up. But however they do it, whether it's playoffs, whether it's a league reconstruction, I do think we should at least have that opportunity, because as you know, the club's invested a lot of time financially getting this squad together, and it just seems, a bit unfair to just have that scrapped at the sake of protecting the 42 clubs at all costs, kind of thing.
I suppose reconstruction would make Steny quite happy. They'd get to stay up, so perhaps that's something you'll see in the papers next week if we maybe have a listen to this.
Just that I'm missing the football, Shaun. I'm missing seeing the guys on a Saturday. I missed it so much yesterday. A wee bit sad, but we're getting there, Shaun. And no, Shaun, I've always sort of described you as a bit of a pit bull in the midfield.
I'll take that.
But yeah, like everyone else, mate, missing the football. I hope you stay safe. I hope your business and that, and certainly if there's anything, you need a wee bit of a tweet out or anything like that, just let us know, and we'll be happy to.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated, and hopefully we're back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate. Yep, stay safe, pal, and obviously thanks for coming on, and you're welcome anytime. I'm sure we'll have a few more chats over the next few weeks.
Perfect. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Shaun.